Good evening and welcome. I would like to open the public portion of the March 19th, 2025 Richfield Park Board of Education meeting. The time is now 7:13 p.m. Let's begin with a salute to the flag. Okay, Mr. Bison, can you please read the Open Public Meetings Act?
Yes, the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this provision of this act, the Richfield Park Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, place thereof posted in the Bergen Record, Star Ledger, Municipal Building, Board of Education offices, and district website. Part 2 is concerning public participation instructions. Public participation will be conducted both in person and virtually through Zoom. All public will be muted throughout the meeting. Public participation comments are limited to 5 minutes. The public will be able to both speak and be seen by the board when participating virtually or telephonically via Zoom. Individuals participating virtually that wish to make comments during the public participation will need to raise their hand by clicking the blue hand icon at the bottom of the Zoom window. Individuals participating by telephone that wish to make comments during the public participation will need to hit *9 on their telephone to raise their hand. The business administrator, board secretary will then unmute individuals one at a time to speak in order that their hand was raised.
Thank you, Mr. Bison. May I please have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Cooney.
Here.
Ms. Kraft.
Here.
Mr. Feitros.
Here.
Ms. McNeil.
Here.
Mr. Malou.
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Here.
Ms. Schmidt.
Here.
Ms. Velez.
Here.
Ms. Orth.
Here.
President Martinez.
Here, we have a quorum. Is Mr. Egan on the call yet? We have no minutes to approve, and we've had no formal communications from the public. We'll move on to subcommittee reports. Buildings and Grounds, Trustee Cooney.
Good evening, everyone. Testing. That's better. Thank you. The Buildings and Grounds Committee met on March 10th at 5 p.m. Those in attendance, Dr. Vespignani, Ms. Triglia, Mr. Bisick, Mr. Egu, myself, President Martinez, Vice President Orth, Trustee Malul, and Trustee Schmidt. A small agenda. We discussed the preliminary budget presentation. We also talked about district goals and the progress update as Dr. V reviewed the ongoing district goals progress to assess the current progress towards meeting those goals. And lastly, the ROD grant updates. The committee was updated with the current ROD bidding timelines. On March 24th, the ROD grant for the high school HVAC project will go out for bidding. Phase 2 of bidding for Roosevelt and Grand School will go out on April 21st. These two bids. These biddings are to allow for the primary project of the high school to begin on July 1st and subsequent Grant and Roosevelt projects to follow. Our next meeting is scheduled for April 14th, and that concludes the B&G report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cooney. Policy, Trustee Schmidt.
Hello, everyone. The Policy Committee met on March 11th at 6 p.m. Present were Dr. V, Ms. Triglia, President Martinez, Trustee Rodriguez, and myself. The meeting was very brief, discussing only an amendment to the current petty cash policy that's on tonight's agenda. The next meeting has not yet been scheduled, and that concludes my report. Thanks.
Thank you. Finance and Insurance did not formally meet this month due to scheduling conflicts, but had perhaps more face-to-face and digital contact with the administration than in any other month since I've been on the board. Faculty and Programs Trustee Kraft.
Good evening. The Faculty and Programs Committee met on March 11th at 5 p.m. Present were Dr. Vespignani, Ms. Triglia, myself, President Martinez, Trustee Rodriguez, and Trustee Velez. The bulk of our meeting was spent talking about the preliminary budget. We also had an update on our district goals and the progress towards meeting those goals, and we saw a copy of the proposed district calendar for the 25-26 school year. Our next meeting is scheduled for April 15th.
Thank you very much. And I need to break protocol a little bit. I skipped over minutes. We do have minutes to move. Trustee McNeil, can you please move the minutes for February 19th, 2025?
I make a motion for 3.01.
Second.
Have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Mr. Phytros,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Baloo,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Abstention.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Velez,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
President Martinez.
Abstention, I was not here. Okay, without further ado, we're going to move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Vespignani, all yours.
Great. Thank you, President Martinez, and good evening to the board and our community. First, I respectfully submit the HIB report that was presented to the board in executive session. Some exciting news across our schools and our pre-K 6 schools. The elementary schools have celebrated Read Across America Week back on March 3rd, where festivities began with assemblies, guest readers, student readers, contests, and more. I had the pleasure of visiting some of our schools and classrooms. It was great fun. Always a great week to highlight the importance of reading. Our high school culinary students also visit our elementary schools to read a story to first grade students and create a fun and tasty treat related to the book. And the Illusion Maker assemblies continued through the elementary schools to promote the importance of recycling, reducing, and reusing materials to help Earth's environment. And the high school music department brought students to the elementary schools to showcase band and chorus to the upper grades. Question and answer time allowed students to learn more about it as well. And at the junior senior high school, the Scarlets completed their winter athletics season successfully. And our plan is to celebrate some great recognition at our upcoming board meeting on April 30th. So congratulations to our winter athletic teams and all of their hard work and efforts during the season, as well as our coaches. I wanted to comment on a notable agenda item. I am recommending to the board the 25-26 school year district calendar. It's important to note that this was a collaborative approach, also processed through the faculty program committee. The RPEA leadership has also reviewed the calendar. Our administrative team has reviewed it. We've also partnered with the Little Ferry superintendent and team to ensure that there's some synergy between the district calendars. But I wanted to point out that it is on the agenda tonight for approval, and we would process it accordingly should the board vote to approve it this evening. I also wanted to mention that our elementary report cards are going to be distributed this Friday. As always, our families and parents and guardians are encouraged to review the report card with their children. In the event that you have any questions or concerns, please absolutely reach out to your child's teacher or teachers. Briefly, a district goals update. We're continuing our progress in terms of goal 1 in INRS. That goal is just about wrapped up. We're continuing to monitor progress with some of the new forms and procedures that we've implemented. In regard to the rebranding initiative, we're making steady progress on our mission statement revision. The survey has since closed. Ms. Triglia and I have done some initial data analysis, some really great feedback from our community. We'll be presenting a draft to the mission statement revision committee for review and for some feedback. And then our goal is to present that draft to the board and also back to the community for some additional feedback. And the goal is to have a new mission statement by the conclusion of this academic school year. You may recall that the board recently had approved to move in the new direction for a district website. So we've been taking many internal meetings with our new vendor, Apogee, to begin to build the website out, and that's going very smoothly. I wanted to welcome our student reps for their report. And I know typically we hear about, some of the current events and programs and athletics. But I believe tonight, in alignment with the presentation that I'm going to have, we're going to hear a little bit more about, your current experience within the junior, senior high school. So welcome, and we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Zoe and I am joined with my fellow senior student government officers. The four of us are here tonight to share some of our firsthand experiences of excellence here in the Richfield Park Junior Senior High School. All four of us came here in 7th grade from different elementary schools within the district. Looking back to September 2019, it is remarkable to see all the changes we experienced over the last 6 years, especially within our most recent years. In my personal experience, the arts program in the school has been one of my most fond memories. I know that by personal experience and by talking with others that the arts programs have been an enriching and fun experience for the students. The school musical has provided me with an incredible opportunity to collaborate and bond with talented peers, as well as traveling to other schools to watch them perform their renditions of their musicals. For example, this year, the musicals cast visited St. Joseph's Regional High School to see their production of Footloose. It is a pleasure to be part of such a wonderful sense of community. I can proudly say that the AP programs have prepared me and my peers well for college. I started taking AP classes during the 2024 school year and have continued it into this year. Teachers focus on preparing students for the AP test instead of treating it like an ordinary exam. They provide practice tests and resources for students who want to push themselves beyond the classroom. Teachers also provide a great environment for their students that goes beyond learning. They build a strong bond with the class, which makes everyone feel seen and heard. Specifically, the AP Art program allows me to explore my creativity while preparing me for a college-bound mindset and workload. I think these classes are a great way for students to learn preparation and time management as they continually develop, much like they have these last few years. I now give the floor to my fellow officer, Idalis.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Izelis. I want to start off by talking about our counseling department, which has truly helped me. This year alone, there have been tremendous scholarship opportunities, and as a low-income student, I appreciate this effort. I can say that I've had the best counselor throughout my last few years here in Richfield Park. Our counselors try to be there for us as early as they can and show opportunities, not only about college, but also outside of college. Because of this department, I've learned to advocate for myself and ask questions anytime I need them. Especially the last 2 years, they have provided me in-school opportunities to visit universities. So my sophomore year, I was able to go to Pace University, and we also combined it with Mercy. And I was able to learn more about nursing and their nursing programs. So in addition to this, we also have Future Fridays, and they provided by the guidance counseling department, and they're also able to help us see any potential careers and something that we actually want to do. And the department brings in professionals from various fields in which they can discuss the general idea of what it is to be in that type of field. So these Future Fridays are open to students who are considering pursuing these fields, and I feel like it's very important in providing a sense of confidence, in what you really want to do upcoming outside of these walls. And even though I am a low-income student, this has not affected my chances here at RP because I'm going to Seton Hall tuition-free next year. And I know that this was all due to everything I was exposed to here. Thank you. So, well, to say I feel prepared for college and the challenges that might come. And while I did not often get to go to the Wellness Center this year, I know that I've always wanted to go somewhere like throughout my years past here. I haven't, you can't roam the hallways, sometimes the guidance department, they're actually working with some kids and you just really want to talk to someone or you just want to not feel like you're a burden somewhere. So I know that the Wellness Center, I'm truly happy that this is here and I have younger sisters here. And so I'm happy that they have somewhere to go. They have somewhere to be. Even though I'm not here, I feel very happy and very comfortable. Even walking past students there, people in lunch that are there, it's a very good opportunity. I'm very happy that we have this Wellness Center now. And I'd also want to lightly highlight the Fitness Center, which was unveiled this year, and how much it has helped me feel more comfortable in my fitness journey. And I feel like now there's a purpose to go to gym class because sometimes I don't want to spend a whole hour doing volleyball. And, sometimes outside of these walls, I don't have the time to go to the gym, but I know that I want to go to the gym and I want to become more experienced in equipment. So this has helped me and I'm able to feel not only gain more experience, but also be in a safe place as not only athletes, but also non-athletes are able to work there. And this has really helped me grow athletically. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Juliana, and I am a Jersey girl through and through. I grew up in the school system here at Richfield Park, and I'm a product of all it has to offer. There is so much to get involved in, so much to do, and so many people with vibrant personalities. I have been lucky to grow up with such a wonderful support system at home as well as here in school. It has allowed me to grow as a student and as a person. I am extremely proud to say that Richfield Park competes with the rest of the state when it comes to its programs. I am a part of Model UN, DECA, competitive AP courses, and many clubs. The Model UN delegation has grown to over 20 delegates and has taught me the skills of leadership, collaboration, and enhanced public speaking skills. Just last week, we went to a conference in New York City where we had one of our delegates win Best Delegate Award, and our teacher was awarded 5 years of dedicated service. We also got to interact with people around the globe. This has been one of many recent opportunities that have opened up, not just for Model UN, but for all extracurriculars. And additionally, while our DECA chapter is small, it is mighty. DECA's principal mission is to teach students how to apply business principles to real-world scenarios. As a new addition to the school, we have spread awareness about the availability of CTE career paths for students to take. These opportunities do not exist in every high school, and again, I feel so lucky that they are here. Because of our advisor, Mr. Singer, I have had the opportunity, along with my business partner, to go to the DECA State Competition, SCDC, in Atlantic City. Additionally, thanks to Mrs. Kendall's connection to Student Diplomacy Corps, I was given a scholarship to study abroad in Spain, which was fully covered. I was able to immerse myself in the vibrant cultures of multiple different regions, studying art, music, and dance. This experience has allowed me to open my mind and bring some lessons I've learned to RPHS. Without this school, I would have never had the opportunity to meet my two best friends and an amazing mentor that continues to shape who I am. My trip has quite literally become my personality now. The Ridgefield Park journalists ensure that all the Scarlets know about all of these happenings. The journalism class and club works hard collaborating with students and staff across the building to ensure the most up-to-date articles. There are currently 35 students who work diligently to bring the school newspaper together. This year has seen the longest papers covering topics of all different subjects. These journalists go above and beyond not only to deliver current news, but an aesthetically pleasing paper for all to enjoy. Over these few years, I've seen so much improvement within RPHS and its community, and I have had the privilege of attending such a diverse and unique place with tremendous opportunity. Thank you for your time, and I will be passing the floor to our student body president, Jillian.
Good evening, everybody. As a true product of the Richfield Park education system from kindergarten all the way to now my current senior year, it makes me proud to see the improvements which have taken place, especially within these last few years. The updates to our school have served a true purpose towards bettering both the students and faculty here at Richfield Park Junior Senior High School, and I'd like to highlight just a few more in which have had the most profound impacts on me. As a former member of the volleyball team, the recent revamping of our gym, as well as the addition of our fitness center, provide a welcoming and encouraging feel to become the best athletes all Scarlets can be, even if you're just starting out, as well as providing new forms of exercise during our physical education classes by introducing new activities besides our routine ones, which have persisted throughout the years. So it's good to get a nice fresh feel of something. For years, there has not been a dedicated space for students to work out and gain confidence through their own personal fitness journey. The newly added Scarlet Strong Training Center, which is commonly referred to by our students as our weight room, provides a place for students to work out effectively with up-to-date equipment. And as an athlete my whole life, it is very inspiring to see non-athletes feel so comfortable in this type of space and continuing to better themselves here within these walls. The most profound update I've seen is our wellness center, and as a peer mentor and mediator for students to have access to this calming environment has provided so much help to their mental well-being. The space is safe, calming, and just provides a space to clear your head when you need it. I myself very often use this wellness center and talk with our counselors in there, especially Mr. Grabelski, who has been my rock through this entire college search process. The entire staff does their best to help the students here, and I think it is honestly the greatest thing I've seen here in 6 years be added. It's truly amazing in there. Now, as much change as we have all seen over the last 6 years, it would be amazing to just have one more year here as a Scarlet. We would get the chance to see some of the great initiatives that lay ahead for the students returning next year, such as AP African Studies or the potential for our mock trial team, are just a few great things that are coming in the future. And although we can't provide a perspective for all students, we can guarantee that the funding and improvements implemented into our school have created a sense of community and provide once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for all students here at Richfield Park Junior Senior High School. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your personal experiences. It's so wonderful to hear, many of our programs, our facilities, our staff, our excellent staff is having a direct positive impact on your education and your overall experience. And that's why we're all here, to ensure that our students are having an excellent experience. So it really is truly wonderful to hear just that. And that's a good segue into my preliminary budget presentation. So I'm just going to take a moment to share my technology now. All right, so pleased to be presenting the preliminary budget presentation this evening to our board and community. Notably, in comparison to last year, this year we have the revised logo. So you may recall last year we had a bit of an outdated scarlet. So pleased to be making progress on our rebranding initiative. Here we have our board members and the administration. Again, as noted in the committee reports, the board has been presented this presentation in advance of the meeting. They've asked a lot of tough questions, a lot of good questions, which have strengthened the process and the overall presentation. So I thank the board for their feedback and input. I also wanted to thank our administrative team. We have gone through many, many hours of work to complete this presentation. First, I'd like to thank our business administrator for all of his work in terms of entering information into the state software system. You can imagine this takes a lot of times, long nights and weekends. So thank you, Mr. Bisick, for your efforts. Ms. Triglia has been instrumental in many ways for this presentation in terms of contributing to it and revising and working diligently to ensure that it's a very solid presentation. So thank you, Ms. Triglia. We've also had many meetings, including our senior cabinet, Mr. Hugo, operations manager, our directors, director of special services, Ms. Gonzalez, our director of preschool education, Ms. Costello. So I appreciate all of their efforts on that. This presentation was also presented to our full administrative team this week, so they are also aware. And as noted under administration, we have Mr. Egan, our state fiscal monitor, who I believe we'll hear from in his state monitor's report, who has approved this presentation and its content. So in terms of our budget goals, it's important to pause and really place emphasis on goal number one. As we had shared with our student reps, our main goal is to enhance each student's performance and experience, and we're doing that by optimizing district spending. And as it relates to goal two, it's to provide efficient teaching and learning environments in our facilities. So here's our snapshot of our enrollment. We had this as last year's presentation as well. So by comparison to last year, March 1st, we see a slight increase in enrollment, but pretty steady, approximately a total of an additional 25 students. We have our pre-K providers, Little Stars, and the co-op. So we have 60 students currently enrolled across 4 classrooms there. All of our other pre-K students are dispersed through the elementary school totals. And in the first column, we see the location. In the middle column, it's in-district enrollment. And the third column, we have complete district enrollment, which is inclusive of students who are sent to various schools outside of the district. So in this slide, we're presenting our revenue that ultimately funds the budget. So in the first column, we see the revenue, and then in the second column to the right, we see the amount. I also provide a brief description for each line item for the board and community. And a lot of these terms are finance related or education related. So I felt it was important to again include some of that information to highlight what exactly that revenue stream is. So the first row, we have our 2% tax levy. That's the tax bill collected by the municipality. So that number of approximately 29.5 million is an increase of 2% from the previous year's tax bill. We then have allowable adjustments, which is unused tax levy for future use. I'll be providing a good amount of details on that line item in some later slides. We then have our state and extraordinary aid. These are funds received to support the budget. Thankfully, unlike many districts who unfortunately experienced a decrease in state aid, we were fortunate that we received a slight increase of approximately $700,000. And the total line item there is also inclusive of extraordinary aid, which relates to special services. So in terms of the tax bill and the state aid that we received, the tax bill increase at 2% is just about 580,000. And then with the state aid of a little over 700,000, that puts the revenue stream at $1.2 million, $1,208,451. So just under 1.3 million. That's an important number as it will relate to some expenditures and appropriation on the next slide. So please keep that number in mind. We then have our federal aid, which is estimated. So these are projections in terms of what we have previously received. Federal aid is really critical. It funds not only our IDA related to special services, but all of our title programs. So pull-out programs during the day. We also have our after-school activities related to title. All these programs developed by Ms. Triglia in collaboration with staff and supervisors and administrators are really critical. So the federal aid, although we do hear in the news that this may fluctuate in upcoming years, it really is critical to our operations and to the needs of our students. We then have preschool education. This is inclusive of the preschool education aid that we receive from the state, and as well as extraordinary aid, which is also, again, related to special services. The reason why these are combined is because we have an inclusive model within our preschool settings. And as a result, some of that is funded through that special services revenue stream. We then have tuition, Little Ferry and other local education agencies. We have a tuition reserve. This is a separate reserve account related to our send receive tuition payment reserve account. In the event that each year, depending on the annual calculation, there are times when we may need to tap into this reserve account. We then have miscellaneous. This is busing contracts, as an example, facility rentals. When various organizations utilize our facilities, there's some revenue generated from that. So we see the line item there. We then have two reserve accounts. We have our capital reserve. As we heard from our auditor's report in the last board meeting, these two reserve accounts are quite healthy. So capital reserve, effectively what we're doing here is drawing this amount to fund this portion of the budget this year. And as you'll see on a later slide, we'll see some of the projects that this reserve account will be funding. And then we're also pulling from maintenance reserve. Think of facility repairs, not big ticket projects, more of the day-to-day operations. So we're drawing some from maintenance reserve, which is also a very healthy account. So the total there is $64,123,499. And it's important to note that these allocations are all subject to change. We then have our budget appropriations, our expenditures. So we see them listed in the first column, and then in the middle column, we have the amount. And then in the third column, the percent that it makes up of the budget this year. And on the next slide, I'll show a bit of a graph, which I find to be helpful so we can get a better sense in terms of those percentages. Having said that, instructional salaries, the way this is being presented this year is a little bit differently than last year in terms of the salaries. We now have salaries dispersed throughout many of these expenditures within these rows. Instructional salaries is specifically referring to our general education teachers and their salaries. Now, the salaries as a whole, it's important to note that all three of our collective bargaining units have agreed with the board by way of the collective bargaining process that each of those units will have a 3.5 increase in their salaries for the 25-26 school year. So that is fixed, that is locked in. As part of the negotiation process, it's important to note that both sides look at county averages and kind of what's trending in terms of salaries for teachers and administrators, just as part of that process. An important line item here that I'd like to draw some specific attention to is the employee benefits / statutory contributions. So this is inclusive of various items, but in particular, it is for employee benefits. So what does that mean? So the board, as the employer, must provide employee benefits. And you may not know that districts typically have a broker of record for health benefits. So this is someone that we rely on to provide us with relevant information in terms of planning and plans for health benefits. We are in the school health benefits, the school employees health benefits program through the state. And we have been advised by our broker of record to expect a massive increase for the 25-26 school year. So I'll be providing some additional information on that again in some future slides, but it's important to note, and as it relates as connected to the revenue streams on the previous slide, we're being told to budget approximately a 22% increase from the previous year. That 22% increase represents an approximate $1.6 million increase in which the board must come up with in order to fund the employee benefits. Now, I had shared earlier that with our state aid number, as well as the tax levy at 2%, represents about a 1.3 million increase. So you can see already, just with those very few revenue streams, which are the significant ones, and with just a portion of our expenditures, we're already starting our budget process in a bit of a deficit. In other words, some of these items where the board needs to develop the funds for, the funds simply do not cover that. And in particular, that is related to the increase that is projected for 25-26 of 1.6 million. Continuing on, we have our special education. So this is tuition. We also have some salaries embedded in here, instruction and support, our operations related to facilities. We have our transportation costs, administrative, general, and school. And then our capital projects, again, that cost is in alignment with the revenue, and I'll be sharing some of that additional information. So we see on the bottom here, the total, again, which if I go back to the previous slide, we see a balanced budget of $64,123,499. But it's important to note, the only reason and the only path to have that budget ultimately balanced is through that second line item, the allowable adjustments. And again, I'll be providing some details on that in a few later slides. So again, I find it helpful to be able to see a bit of a pie graph here. It's important to note that we see instructional salaries in the royal blue and employee benefits in red and special education in the bit of the yellow or gold. You know, already that's approximately 65% of our salary. And those are fixed. In other words, those are non-discretionary. Instructional salaries, again, are agreed upon through the collective bargaining process. Employee benefits, again, are fixed. Costs for special education. So, you know, it's important to note that, you know, much of the budget is non-discretionary. Now, there's just not a lot of room, and many of these are fixed costs. So what does our 25-26 budget include? Well, support for our students through staffing, programs, and resources to meet their needs. This budget will be able to maintain our instructional programs as well as our extracurricular and athletic programs. It also provides support for our dedicated staff through professional development. And we're continuing our essential investment in our infrastructure to foster a culture of innovation. Now, in terms of personnel, it's important to pause and just highlight some of the processes that we've been going through internally. The board and the community may recall that last year in the budget, we did include 5 classroom teachers, so new positions. And this year, I am not recommending any new positions. So last year we had, quite a few positions related to compliance. We added 2 ESL teachers for our growing ML students and support. We also added 3 special education positions, 1 at the high school, as well as 2 for expanding our autistic classrooms. But this year we're taking a really cautious approach to staffing. And although we have absolutely identified specific staffing needs, in other words, it's not as if we don't have staffing needs. It's just that we're being very mindful of our already stretched budget constraints. So again, I'm not recommending any new, what we refer to as full-time equivalent FTE additions. So rather than adding any new positions that would further strain our financial resources, again, we just heard how salaries and benefits are on the rise. We're also implementing creative internal solutions. So just to be clear, I don't want there to be confusion in some potential recommendations for upcoming board meetings. Yes, we may very well see job descriptions revised or new job descriptions, but we're not adding positions. Quite frankly, we have the staff from within, and we're able to massage that staffing plan. So as the third bullet point suggests, we're really making the most of our team. We're continuing our thoughtful approach in regard to how we schedule and assign responsibilities. We want to ensure that every educator's talents and time are both respected and maximized while also meeting our students' growing needs. So this also requires strategic certification alignment. So as you know, teachers and some staff members require certifications. So we're absolutely taking a look at certifications to align with our instructional needs and ultimately to leverage our existing talent pool more effectively. As a result, we're able to preserve our programs. So this strategy allows us to maintain our current programs without elimination. We're also able to maintain stable class sizes. So we're designing our staffing plan to maintain stable class sizes. And ultimately, we want to be fiscally mindful. So this balanced approach demonstrates our commitment to both academic excellence, but also being responsible stewards of our community resources. So here is our pre-K expansion and the trajectory of that program. In the first column, we see the various line items. We see then the years across the top row. So in state aid, we see a pretty steady increase in terms of the state aid that we are receiving to fund our pre-K program. Universe Met, that is a calculation that the state looks at in terms of how you are servicing your pre-K students. So there's a calculation that you take based upon your current first grade enrollment. And then ultimately the calculation represents the universe being met in terms of students that you're able to provide services for. We're very proud of the fact that within that first year, we were able to increase and double our pre-K program from 5 to 10. So currently we have 10 classrooms. Next year, we are looking to add an additional classroom at Roosevelt Elementary School. Here tonight, we have Mr. Cata. Thank you for joining us. So we're looking to place an additional pre-K classroom there. As a result, that would require staffing, but again, it's important to point out that this is funded through the preschool aid that we receive as a result of this program. So naturally, if we have a new classroom, that would generate the need for a preschool teacher as well as a preschool teacher assistant, which are required. We're then obligated to also include a preschool instructional coach, commonly referred to as a PIC, and a preschool intervention and referral specialist, a PERS. Now, this is a combined position. You may recall the board approved the job description for this in a previous year. The reason why we need to hire an additional PIC, because at present, PIC PERS, I should say, because we do have one individual serving in this capacity, is because the state requires that when you go over 10 classrooms, and as you see, we are anticipating to do that, when you are over 10 classrooms and you have more than that, you cannot have this split position. You must have two. So as a result, and quite frankly, this benefits the program very well, because now rather than having one PIC PERS service 10 classrooms, we will have two servicing 11. In terms of our instructional curriculum resources line to our first budget goal, we have the first four are supplementary. So you may recall that Ms. Triglia brought in the iReady ELA and math, which is really supporting our staff members with really critical data. We have our Linkit data warehousing system. We then have IXL for ELA and math, and then Newsella for K-12 as well. So these are really important programs that we recommend to the board to fund each year. These paint a really clear picture of each student, a bit of a student profile in terms of their needs, standards to be able to drill down on. So it's really critical that we preserve these resources for our valued staff members and our students. And then the last two, the Sunday System Phonics program and SAVIS Elevate Science would be considered core. In regard to Elevate Science, we are just wrapping up a second year of that contract, and we're looking to extend that program into next year. Now, in terms of capital improvement projects, we're continuing the essential investment in our infrastructure. So I had mentioned on the previous slide that we would be pulling from our capital reserve account. This upcoming school year, we are looking to repair and replace, I should say, the junior senior high school academic wing roof for students and for faculty members who work in the junior senior high school. They will tell you, depending on the area, there are various large buckets collecting water, which is obviously not the type of environment we want for our staff and our students. So this roof is, from what I understand, 25 years old, so overdue for a replacement. And then we have our projected cost, which of course is subject to change, but that's what we are anticipating. Also here at the junior senior high school, we're looking to recommend our Ever Alert system. This is in regard to the bells and clocks. So if you were to enter 5 different classrooms, you may very well find 5 different times. But above and beyond that, this system is much more than just a clock and bell alignment. It also is in alignment with security. So in the event that we need to go into a lockdown, there will be display on the screen. So there's a lot of really great features. You can specifically call into a classroom and post information on the board. So we're very excited. From what I understand, this current system is over 40 years old. So again, seemingly with the ongoing technology and improvements, it seems that this is overdue. We have our projected cost there as well, which is subject to change. And then lastly, we have our technology infrastructure lease agreement. This is a 5-year lease agreement, and we're continuing with the next phase. So this is the replacement of various items within our infrastructure for technology. Think of switches and servers and things of that nature. So we're continuing down that path to upgrade our technology infrastructure. We then have our ROD grant project allocations. ROD stands for Regular Operating District. You may recall a few years ago, the state came out with a grant opportunity, and many districts, RP being one of them, took advantage of this. The state funds approximately 40% of the project. I wanted to note that last year we had Lincoln Elementary on here, but the fine work of our business office under Mr. Bisig and our operations manager, Mr. Egu, we came to learn that we did not need to replace the Lincoln HVAC. By uncovering this is literally saving the district hundreds of thousands of dollars, as you can see some of the costs listed here. So it was really important that we uncovered that prior to moving forward. But we are in need of the HVAC system at the gym and cafeteria here, the junior senior high school. So this would be inclusive of air conditioning as well as heating, and then Grant Elementary and Roosevelt Elementary as well for HVAC. Now, we have, through our architect of record, DeCaren Rubino, we have gone out to bid, 2 separate bids, one for the elementary schools and one for the junior senior high school. What we are being told, and just naturally due to inflation and rising costs, we are anticipating that the initial district allocation listed there just below 2.5 million is going to significantly increase. So once we get that bid information back, we will have to arrive at a decision and a recommendation to the board in terms of which projects we can fund. I did indicate earlier that our capital reserve account is quite healthy. However, much like any accounts and future projections, you don't necessarily want to drain all of that account because we may need some for other projects that may surface unexpectedly. So in terms of the preliminary budget tax impact, this slide is arguably the most important slide of the entire presentation. This information is generated from our auditor, and it paints a pretty clear trajectory of how the district has managed the tax levy. I mentioned earlier that the tax levy is a 2% increase on the previous year. And we see for 3 consecutive years noted in green, the district went in over 2%, even as high as 4.77 at one point. However, the trajectory since then, and for the past 8 years, in 5 of those years, the district came in under 2%. Now, this may have been for various reasons, but as a result of that, and what does that mean? Essentially, the district did not collect the total amount that is permissible at 2% from the taxes. So what is the impact of going below or maintaining 2% tax levy? Well, this passed under levying practices below the 2% cap without utilizing allowable adjustments. You may recall that term on one of the initial slides, and I said I would go back to that. Examples of allowable adjustments are bank cap or healthcare waiver. I'll provide some specific definitions on those in a moment. But this has created permanent reductions in the baseline for future years. And this results in a compounding negative effect on the district's financial capacity. So it's important to note that state and federal funding allocations fluctuate annually, creating unpredictable revenue streams that cannot be relied upon for consistent budgetary planning. So while we have been fortunate to date, other New Jersey districts have experienced significant cuts in state aid, a reality we could face in the near future. This uncertainty highlights our need to develop permanent solutions to strengthen our local budget funds. This historical pattern of levying below 2% or at 2% is no longer sustainable for district operations, and there is an immediate need to use the state-approved and calculated allowable adjustments, again, bank cap or healthcare waiver. So what is bank cap? Well, in 2010, the statutory tax levy was established to implement a 2% increase over the prior general fund levy in order to restrict the increase in local property taxes. However, the term bank cap refers to a financial mechanism that allows school districts to save unused tax levy capacity for future use. Now, it's important to note that this does not mean that the district has this money in hand at this time. And there are different permissible ways in which a district can bank their capacity to levy taxes above the 2% cap. In terms of the healthcare waiver adjustment, there are various fixed costs that the New Jersey Department of Education recognizes are difficult to control. Examples of these will be increases in enrollment, SDA, but this also includes healthcare cost increases, as I noted earlier. So the NJDOE allows for districts to obtain an adjustment to the statutory tax levy cap, and these adjustments are sometimes known as waivers. So what does this really mean? Well, as I indicated, unexpectedly, the healthcare costs are projected to increase by 1.6 million. So the state of New Jersey allows districts, as a result of those sudden increase, as it relates to these fixed costs, right? We have to provide health benefits. They provide an option for a waiver, which would then impact the tax levy. So how does it work? Well, when a district does not use its full 2% allowable increase in a given year, as an example, when the tax levy was only raised 1.92 in 22-23, as we see on the slide, that unused portion, that remaining 0.08 is banked. So this banked capacity can only be carried forward for up to 3 years and is used to exceed the 2% cap in future budgets. Bank cap gives districts the ability to manage their finances over multiple years. And this system was designed to provide some flexibility within the property tax cap framework while still maintaining overall limits on tax increases. So the state approves and calculates these allowable adjustments. And for the 25-26 budget, I wanted to note that the district is permitted to raise the tax levy to 6.25 this year, upcoming year, due to the bank cap from previous years, which goes back 3 years, when the district did not use its full allowable increase. So this significant increase in healthcare costs also results in the eligibility for the healthcare waiver. However, we are looking to take a responsible approach to this, and through internal adjustments and careful budget review, the district has been able to propose a reduced tax levy increase from the maximum 6.25 to 4.74. Which, as we see on this slide, is not the highest that the district has come in. This is slightly below the 2015-16 when the district came in at 4.77. And again, the recommendation this year is 4.74. We believe by our internal adjustments and reducing this demonstrates a prudent approach while still addressing our essential needs and easing some of the immediate financial burden on our taxpayers. It's important to note that bank cap eligibility does remain for the 26-27 budget. So by implementing a reduced tax levy increase rather than the maximum allowable amount at 6.25, the district maintains eligibility to access our remaining bank cap for the 26-27 year if needed. So I'm certainly not going to be able to predict what 26-27 will bring. However, it is important to note that we will still have this bank capped eligibility, and if we need, again, that would impact the tax levy coming in at over 2%. We just simply don't know that at this time. So you might say, well, what is the necessity and what does this mean and how does it benefit by using these allowable adjustments? Well, first, it's a matter of budget stabilization. And a 4.74% tax levy increase represents a $1.3 million increase instead of at 2%, which would be that $580,000 that I had mentioned earlier. So this balances our immediate needs while also establishing long-term financial health. This creates stability while potentially preventing severe adjustments in the future. So as a result of using this allowable adjustment, we can maintain our existing staffing and all of the programs, as we heard from our student reps, that they are enjoying to be able to support our students within the 25-26 budget. So to be clear, if the tax levy is not raised, the only path, and it would reduce it back towards a number of 2%, the only path to be able to get there is to cut personnel and to cut programs. And again, we've already been very mindful in terms of personnel and staffing. We've already done a good amount of restructuring in my time here. We've been very cognizant of the recommendations that we've made, and we've been able to review our internal staffing to ensure that we're not adding additional staff at this time. In terms of the bank cap limitations, a bank cap does have an expiration date, so there is a necessity to begin using it. So failing to begin it now would mean permanently losing this revenue building capacity in the future. And foreseeable challenges, if the district does not utilize the necessary allowable adjustments, again, this will lead to more drastic measures in the future in terms of cutting personnel and programs that would directly impact each student's performance and experience. So community members who are listening or who may tune into the video posted on YouTube at a later time may say, well, what does this actually mean for me as a taxpayer? Well, this week, Mr. Bisick and Ms. Trigley and I met with our mayor and some of his financial team, and they were able to provide us with this estimated information. So a 4.74% increase in the tax levy on the average assessed home would be an average annual increase of $328.59 and an average monthly increase of $27.38. And please note that these are estimates and they are subject to change. So next steps in terms of this budget process, this evening, the Board of Education will place their vote on the preliminary budget. We are then required to submit this preliminary budget to the county office. So Mr. Bisick would be doing so. He would need to do so tonight. And then there will be a public hearing and the Board of Education will vote on the final budget at our next meeting on April 30th. So I felt that was important to pause, and we know that board members and community members, as much as they may don't get too often of a time to visit our schools. So I felt it was important to take a peek inside of our schools. You know, this district has made significant strides over the course of the past year and a half, and our talented faculty and staff have been working incredibly hard to place each student on a positive upward trajectory, both academically and socially and emotionally. This continued progress can only be accomplished through the ongoing support of our community. So I wanted to highlight in a very brief video here, you know, some of the great strides that we've made. What you'll see is staff networking and learning together and professional development, some of the resources that our students have, some of the great facility upgrades that we've made. So we're excited to share just a very brief preview of what you may not normally get to see. Thank you, Chris, for your assistance in getting that displayed. So, we saw many of the wonderful learning opportunities, the resources, all of these are funded through our budget. So really great, and I hope that the board and the community enjoyed seeing some of those, pictures of our students learning and our staff learning alongside one another. So just a brief preliminary budget recap. So this budget provides the following. It prioritizes our key educational goals. We're able to maintain our personnel and programs to support our students. We're able to expand special education and pre-K programs. We're able to upgrade our facility and technology infrastructure. And ultimately, when we invest in our schools, we invest in our shared future. A well-funded school budget supports stronger student achievement, which in turn creates lasting value for our entire community. So again, I want to thank the board for allowing me to present the preliminary budget this evening. And we're happy to take a moment to open it up to any questions or concerns. And if our student reps have any questions as well, we'd welcome that. So I'll turn it over back to President Martinez.
Thank you for that presentation and the hard work that went into it. I wanted to open it up to the board about questions about the presentation.
I'll say something, please. Excuse me. This is the third time I've seen this presentation. The first time I was stunned because it's a big change, and the second time I started to accept it, and now I think Dr. V's gotten so good at making the presentation that I personally am comfortable with, when you look at the numbers, the average monthly increase. I think it's well worth its weight in gold for what we have here in terms of our staffing and our programs. And I know some people might see it in a different way, but I would stand behind it. I will be voting yes for it, and I just want to share my opinion. My two children graduated from this high school the last 2 years, and they come back to visit the schools, and they are stunned and they're amazed in what difference it has taken over the last 2 years. So I know that we're going in a great direction, and I stand behind it. So I just wanted to give my 2 cents. Thank you.
Anybody have 3 cents? And Diane?
So just a few comments. First, thank you for a comprehensive overview of the preliminary budget. I don't think that every district gets this same level of detail out to the public that you've provided to our residents, so appreciate that, and all the time and effort that was put into it. All that being said, it is a preliminary. Like Mr. Cooney, I am supporting this preliminary budget. Understand that, the structural deficit of the less than 2% every year is problematic, and we do need to address that to keep our teachers and our teacher-student ratio intact. It is somewhat of a difficult pill to swallow, I'm sure, for a lot of people. Thank you for putting up the impact to individual taxpayers so that they can understand what that means to them. I do have some specific questions on this year, last year, the ROD grant, but I do understand that we'll be getting the user-friendly budget after the approval of the preliminary, at which point, we can look at some specific line items to see if there's any other opportunity to generate some savings. But overall, again, thank you for a well thought out preliminary budget and presentation.
Can I have 4 cents? Yes, go ahead, Jody.
I have 4, hopefully 5. I think as board members, we're tasked with our primary responsibilities of making sure that our students have the best possible educational experience possible. So thank you, ladies, for being here tonight and sharing your feedback about what your experience has been like over the past couple of years, because it's important for us to always keep that at the forefront of our decision making. As a taxpayer, this is a difficult pill to swallow, and I recognize the difficult position that this board is in. But I also want to thank Dr. V and his team for understanding and the commitment that they have to providing excellent educational experiences and facilities for our town and for our students. So I'm going to support it, although I think that we have to do our due diligence throughout this process. I know this is a preliminary budget, but as we work through the weeds of this thing, that we make sure that the taxpayers fully understand the broad scheme of things, and that we've every single stone and that this is the best possible way to get the best of both worlds. So thank you, Dr. V and your team. And thank you, ladies, for being here tonight and presenting your perspectives on the schools.
Yes, thank you. Carol?
Um, thank you, Dr. Vespignani and Mr. Scott. It hasn't been an easy week. We've done a lot of back and forth and asked a million questions, but unfortunately, you know, we're living in very unstable times and I wish things could be different, right? Compound that to the many years of mishandling and instability, and here we are. But my main focus is to protect our students and our staff. And I trust that Dr. Vespignani and his team will continue to work on this budget to be as fiscally responsible as possible, but also to continue on the path that these young ladies have shown us where we are. And I appreciate it so much because it makes our job a lot easier. You know, we know we're doing the best we can by the students. So I too will be voting yes on this preliminary budget.
Thank you. Anyone else want to say anything? Vice President North?
So I wrote because I'm not good at speaking off the cuff. So I just wanted to say as we vote on the preliminary budget tonight, I want to express gratitude towards the administration for all the hard work that went into crafting this budget to minimize the impact on the taxpayers, especially in light of the increasing healthcare costs. That said, I want to make it clear to the public that we say preliminary budget, but we really do mean preliminary budget. And I remain hopeful that as we move through this process, we'll be able to sharpen the pencil and find ways to reduce the tax increase while maintaining the quality of education our students deserve. The numbers we've been given so far are very broad strokes, and over the next few weeks, I look forward to receiving more details so that we can feel confident that this budget is as tight as it needs to be. Tonight, I'll be voting yes on the preliminary budget because it's due to the county and this is a necessary step in the process. But by no means do I feel like I'm writing a blank check here. I'm supportive of the general direction that we're moving in, and I hope for further refinements and more detailed discussions before we finalize this budget. I also want to point out that while it might seem like tonight's discussion amongst the board seems limited, I want to emphasize to the public that this board has spent many hours over the past weekend reviewing, questioning, analyzing this budget. And while it may seem like we're all here, rah, rah, let's go team, we put Dr. Vespignani through the ringer this week.
Sorry, Dr. V.
So know that those questions are being asked and we're holding it. We take our responsibility here very seriously in terms of the taxpayer and trying to minimize that impact. I hope that you have faith that that is the case here because we really did spend a lot of time. My daughter even said recently, she's like, oh, I forgot you were on the board. But she remembered this weekend. So like I said, I'll be supporting this preliminary budget tonight. And I hope that the public continues to stay engaged and that we can continue to move forward and sharpen this even a little bit more.
Trustee Schmidt?
Sure. Okay, not really, I don't have anything written down per se, but the only thing I had on my pad was tough pill. And then two of our other trustees use those words. And that's really it. It is a tough pill for us to swallow, I think, as a board, but also the community. But for me, what definitely is making it easier is knowing that this administration has worked hard to get that number to where it is today. Already, you know, working really hard at keeping it as low as we can while not having to cut staff or programs. And other districts are cutting those things and increasing their levy. So I am appreciative for the work that's already been done, and like the other trustees have echoed, proud of where we're at, and we need to balance it all. And I think that's what we're trying to do, our best. And much of this is out of our control. So I will support this preliminary budget. And I, again, know that it's still a tough pill for the taxpayer. But I hope that all this transparency is helpful in feeling a little bit better about it.
Thank you, Trustee Schmidt. Mr. Malou?
One of the things that defines our village is our educational system. So I want to thank Dr. V for the fine job that he did putting this together. Yes, it's hard to swallow the tough pill. But on the other hand, if we want to continue to hear, as our 4 students said tonight, the wonderful experience they had here at Richfield Park High School, we need to approve this. I will support this. And I will tell you that I am slightly jealous, because I will tell you that 53 years ago, we did not have any of the things that they have the opportunity to have. So it's a wonderful thing. And yes, you're doing the math. I graduated 53 years ago.
Thank you, Mr. Malou. You look good. Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes, it is a tough pill to swallow. And going back to what you said, Michelle, Trustee Orth, questions, this board has asked a lot of questions, and the administration has done a wonderful job answering these questions. Many of you guys know that I have 5 children, ages 25 through 10. We were here, my oldest was actually here a couple of years ago when we saw this district being in a financial situation that was cutting a lot of services such as pay to play and also AP. I have, because of this administration and because of this board, I have gained faith in the system. And I actually brought one of my child back in district when I said last year, a year and a half ago, I will never bring her back in district. And it's because of the wonderful job that this board has done, the administrators, and the board. I just want to let you guys know. So I will definitely vote a yes on this preliminary budget. And I just want to thank the board and also administration. And yeah, I'm jealous that I didn't go to school. I didn't go to school here and the program that you guys have in place, but just thank you.
Thank you all. I'd also like to add, first I'd like to thank the students. When I grow up, I want to be able to speak as confidently and as eloquently as you do. And if we've been responsible for 1% of your successes, we've done our job here. On a different note, I'd like to thank this board for doing their due diligence in overseeing this budgetary process. They've sent out about 100 questions over the last week and a half, some of them layered after layered, towards the administration, asking every question. You have a very diverse board here in terms of their talents, and including a couple of finance people. But every corner of this budget has been, I think, asked much more than in other places. The administration also did an excellent job of being very patient and knowing that their job is to convince us that this is the right thing to do so that we can vouch for them to the public, which I think is what you saw here today. It wasn't a give me. This board is very, very, maybe one of the most diplomatic boards in Richfield Park history. But this is not the easiest board in Richfield Park history. And I can assure you that that this board continues to be solely focused on improving the school systems while being wise and invested stewards of your tax dollars. I think on Monday, we'll see that many other New Jersey districts have had to make very, very difficult cuts. Maybe some of them are going to spin into chaos because boards will split over tax levies or over having to let go of beloved staff. And we don't have to do that here. I'll say that I've been paying too much in taxes since I started paying taxes. And now I feel like I'm getting my money's worth. So I don't mind paying taxes. And I said this when I ran for the board, I guess 150 years ago. I said, I don't mind paying taxes as long as I'm getting my money's worth. And I finally feel like I'm getting my money's worth. I would invite taxpayers and parents to speak to teachers and principals and ask them directly how they feel about the changes over the past 2 years and about the direction of the district. And I know that employees will keep their cards close to their vest. So I want you to ask them a follow-up question, ask them why they feel that way. You tell them that you trust them with your children and that you trust their opinion, and ask them the follow-up question about why they feel the district is moving in the direction it is. So it's clear that I support this budget and the direction we're going in. I have no doubt that this board will continue to, long after the final budget is done, this board will continue to question just about everything that happens in this district. And with that, I will. Thank you. Mr. Reich, I couldn't see you on the screen, so I'm sorry I lost track of you. I thought we had gone through all the board members.
No, it's
Feel free to
okay.
steal my thunder.
No, I'm good. Everybody's spoken very well about this, so I concur with everyone else here on the board. We've asked a lot of hard questions, and the administration's done a great job getting us the answers. So I'm fine.
Can I just add, yes, can I just add that Mr. Feitros, who is obviously the Little Ferry representative, has been very instrumental in asking many, many pointed questions. He has the type of history that, the work history that has helped us in this district in negotiations and again, with this budgetary process. So thank you very much, Mr. Feitros. And I will yield the floor to Mr. Egan for either your superintendent's report or reflections on the budget.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Good. Very good. Well, first of all, as far as this preliminary budget is concerned, I was involved with it and dealing closely with the administration. And it went very well. And I know the conversations I had with the superintendent and the business administrator, a lot of that information was passed on to the board. I've been a state monitor now for a number of years, and this board was a little tough, but you guys were great. You were asking the right questions because expanding your concerns about it, and you challenged the administration, and that's what a board should do, in my opinion, with respect to getting everything done. Now, with respect to putting the budget forward, so everybody should have an understanding. When this goes to the county, one of their main things is to deal with, to make sure that the budget is covering all the technology and the technology stuff with regard to the budget. As far as the cost of the budget, it goes back to the board and what's going to be recommended to go on the going next year. You guys were great. All I can say is I worked on this budget. I totally support it. It's gonna meet all the statutory requirements, and it's going to be good. As far as a little bit increase into your tax levy, I think this is going to go on, or you have to be cautious of it, because the way the economy is going and everything else, the way the state budget is going, having a minor increase is one of the budget, and I could say it's minor. It's not. I'm not paying it, but the thing is, you don't know what's going to happen next year, and I believe that the under administration recommendations to the board, you're doing something very good to be, what's the word? You're going to be very good going into next year. So with that, once again, I'll repeat, I see the preliminary budget. I totally understand it and support it. And in addition, I have to, one of my mandatory things is with the district's got to do is to get through the end of the school year, and you have enough funds and everything else that you're not going to go back into deficit. And once again, this board has made one of the best boards I've ever dealt with. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Egan. You're not supposed to make the board president tear up. Thank you. And that concludes the superintendent's report. Can we dismiss?
Yes, thank you, President Martinez. And at this time, I would like to thank again our student reps for joining. I know it's been a bit of a long night, but we really appreciate your input. And we'll let you get back to your homes this evening and have a great rest of the night and a great rest of the week. Thank you again.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ladies.
Okay. We will now listen to citizens' comments on agenda. I believe no one signed up, but do we have anyone to elevate? Okay, we have no one. So I'm going to close citizens' comments on agenda, and we'll now move on to our agenda items. Trustee Schmidt, can you please move policy and regulations 901 and 902?
Policy and regulations 901, 902. I so move.
Second.
Questions or comments on policy and regulations? Seeing none, can I have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Mr. Phytros,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Malou,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Velez,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
and President Martinez.
Yes, the resolutions pass. Trustee Kraft, can you please move faculty and programs 1001 to 1007?
I make a motion to move FP 1001 to 1007.
Second.
Any questions or comments on faculty and programs 1001 to 1007? Seeing no questions, can I please have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Mr. Phytros,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Malou,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Velez,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
President Martinez.
Yes, and the resolutions pass. Trustee Cooney, can you please move buildings and grounds 1101?
Buildings and Grounds Resolution 11.01. I so move.
Second.
Any questions or comments on buildings and grounds?
I do have a question. This 480,000, is this related to the ROD grants? And if we don't proceed with any of these, with these projects because of the cost, since ROD has been open for quite a while, is it still the same amount?
Thank you, Trustee McNeil, for that question. No, we don't believe that the full amount would be charged in the event that, we believe that it would be, that amount would be massaged or lowered if the event that we do not proceed with one or more of those projects.
Any other questions on?
Yeah, I have a question. Just because with all the budget issues, I didn't really look that closely at this. Is this something, would it be detrimental if we didn't vote on this item tonight?
Yeah, it would simply create a delay in the bidding process to be able to move forward with these ROD grants, and we are as an administration, interested in moving them forward, but it's certainly the board's determination as to whether or not they want to vote on it this evening.
I'm just wondering, we need to approve this in order to go out to bid?
Excuse me, if I may comment on that?
Please.
Thank you. The ROD grants, it has a lot of money that's coming from the state and the federal government. And it goes back a couple of years, and they came up with a dollar amount. So now, because of all the different prices and stuff, will there be enough money to do the projects as approved? No, because everything has gone up. But it's not impacting our budget, because it comes, if you go to it and go out the budget, and if the amount of the bid, if the amount is less than what we have, we don't go forward, and it's not going to impact. It's not going to impact the our budget, because that's all money that we've already put into the into our reserves. But if the budget it can't be met, we're not going to go forward with it. So once again, it will not impact the budget that's going forward.
No, I get that. Just, I don't want to end up spending $400,000 and then we find, because it's likely that we're going to find that some of this work can't be done, right? With the increases in costs and everything else.
Yes, I understand that. But the thing is that if just using round numbers, if a project is bid and we have $100,000, say, just using round numbers for it, and the bid comes in for $200,000, we don't go forward. It's over.
Ms. Regan, if I could just, maybe I can clarify. So we're really talking about not the ROD grants, but the proposal for the architect of record to do the job of putting out the bids and managing the projects. If one of those projects were to disappear, as you just said, does the price that we're being charged by the architect of record go down accordingly?
Absolutely.
Yes, I don't see that as part of this agreement. Don't see where.
The architect only gets gets billed for what he has to do. If we're not going forward, that definitely his prices go down.
Okay.
If I may, I am not certain if we reviewed that contract. Typically we do. It's possible that David did it. If the board is comfortable and wants to move forward this evening, you can approve this pending review of legal counsel. And so I can take a specific look at that and make certain that the contract has the language that would allow you to roll back the price accordingly, as Mr. Egan has said. I agree with Mr. Egan that should be, but if it isn't exactly as written in the contract, I can certainly review that for the board and make sure that it is before you move forward.
Thank you.
Would we have to make a motion to amend this item? Or
No, did you already first and second it?
We first and
it
second.
was first and seconded, yeah.
Okay, so then you can do a friendly amendment with the person who first and seconded it to modify the specific language, or you can make a motion now to amend the first resolution. I think the cleaner way is probably to just have a friendly amendment that both the mover and the second agree to.
The amendment.
I'd like to make a friendly amendment.
All right, so friendly amendment then would just simply add the language of subject to review by legal counsel.
I second the friendly amendment.
I should say it first, right? Harry, can you say that one more time, please?
This is our first friendly amendment.
So the friendly amendment by the first and the seconder would be to just add language to the resolution that says subject to review by legal counsel.
Got it, thank you.
And Mr. Egan, are you comfortable with this approach?
Just a moment. Yeah, I am, but let me just hit this. I'm amazed by it. I'm very happy with it. So,
Mr. Regan, I don't think you're surprised at us at all. This is par for the course. Go ahead, Mr. Cooney.
I'd like to make a friendly amendment to resolution 11.01. Pending subject to review by legal counsel. I so move.
I second. I second friendly it.
All right, now,
Okay, can I have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Cooney,
Yes, yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Mr. Phytros,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Malou,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Velez,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
President Martinez.
Yes, and the friendly resolution passes.
I,
Trustee McNeil, can you please
Very
move
good.
finance and insurance 1201 to
yeah, wait,
1223?
before you go further,
I would like to move 1201.
I'm sorry, Mr. Egan. Mr. Egan has something to say. Go ahead, Mr.
just,
Egan.
yeah, thank you. Just one comment. This is why it's such a pleasure dealing with this board, because there was an issue, there was a question, and it was resolved without any aggravation or anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Egan. Trustee McNeil, would you please move finance and insurance 1201 to 1223?
I move 1201 to 1223.
A second.
Second.
Who was second? Oh, Jenny. Okay, can I have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Mr. Phytros,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Malou,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Velez,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
President Martinez.
Yes, and the resolutions pass. Trustee Malou, can you please move consent agenda 1301 to 1304?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to move the consent agenda, resolutions 1301 through 1304. Note that 1304 is a added resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Malou. Can I have a second?
Second.
I think Diane McNeil.
The board's convenience, I'll read in consent agenda 1304, which is walked in tonight. Resolve, the Ridgefield Park Board of Education has determined that student ID 27004605 shall be removed from the Ridgefield Park School District 21 days following the date of the notice of final ineligibility, unless the timely appeal is filed with the Commissioner of Education due to insufficient evidence established that the student presently is domiciled in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Be it further resolved that the board secretary is authorized to prepare, with the assistance of the board attorneys, the necessary notice of final ineligibility to inform the parent guardian of student ID 27004605 of the board's decision.
Thank you. Can I have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Mr. Phytros,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Malou,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Velez,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
President Martinez.
Yes. Trustee Velez, would you please move personnel 1401 to 1410?
Sure. I so move personnel 1401 to 1410.
Second.
Any questions or comments from the board on personnel? Seeing none, can I please have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Mr. Phytros,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Malou, Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Velez,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
President Martinez.
Yes, the resolutions pass. We'll now listen to citizens' comments off agenda. And again, I'd ask that you keep to the generous 5-minute limit and respect the board's attempt to be mindful and deliberate in addressing your concerns. Ms. Serrano?
Hello. Hello? Can you hear me?
Is it working?
Hello? Oh, I guess I have to like talk into it. Okay, sorry. Hi, Nancy Serrano, 21 Grove Street. So good evening. I was anticipating coming in tonight anyway for my own questions, but decided I'll be back next month. Instead today, while I was out with my daughter at a place as a result of having to attend 2 horrendous years here, I received a video of the horrific violence that continues in this very location. That video was absolutely disgusting to watch, that no one helped a freshman student while being punched by an 18-year-old senior. The adults are seen laughing, a slight attempt to help somewhat, and then stroll away to get help, I guess. Where was the principal? The vice principal, who supposedly claimed to walk around this cafeteria during lunchtime? Who has lunch duty? Who watches the cameras during the day? As I just observed, I think there's only 3 or 4 here, and there's none, I think, in this corner. Who is monitoring all of this? Is there someone actively watching during high peak times like dismissal, lunchtime, gym, and outings to the park? I have been asking that question for quite some time, and clearly no one is. I could not believe how long it lasted and how the children took out their phones to record instead of run to get help. They should be expelled. It's disgusting. It's horrific that it took priority recording rather than helping. There was that one child who I'm sure while recording it himself says, "Isn't anyone going to stop this?" What happened to the ban on cell phones here? Seems to be working, huh? Not really. Who is collecting the data on how many children here with IEPs are violent? In my own personal experience, the children who hurt my child violently, physically, had those. I've even been recently made aware that they have not gotten better to the point that their own parents now have them as Bergen Regional patients. Maybe it was voluntary. Maybe they were forced to legally. I don't know, and I don't care. I came here to publicly notify you all about the violence and no one doing a single thing, and asked if you are waiting to see one of our own on the news, taking their own lives or be killed. I say killed because my daughter was threatened with a gun twice to be shot at if she didn't shut up, and threatened with being stabbed also. Yes, I did go to RPPD, and they did absolutely nothing. They even made it quite difficult to file a report until I had to demand it and state that I was not leaving until it was documented somewhere that we seem to have some very violent children in town. And the adults that are supposed to be here, meant to protect them while on school grounds, just seem to ignore it all. How do you all and I'm referring to the board members, how do you all claim to run for these positions, stating that your concern is the children and the town, when I know I'm not the first and I'm certainly not the last, addressing violence issues? You all seem to do a great job keeping it all a secret, since many parents don't even bother to attend. As we can clearly see, I'm the only parent here, which kind of makes sense why the camera hasn't really been focused now around and only to you guys. There's nobody here. Okay, sorry. I see that many that do somewhat claim to get involved all have small children and don't even know the real story of life at RPHS. When were you guys going to notify parents, the public, about finding a gun in this school? I think it was last month. Yes, I did hear there was a lockdown or shelter in place. But then once found and cleared, everyone went about their way. No notification sent to parents, nothing in the news, all kept quiet. This place is disgusting, and you should all really be ashamed of yourselves, as well as the parents who keep thinking that these things have gotten better since Dr. V has arrived. Many think the world is great here and nothing is happening here. They will realize it when their children make it here. Good luck. This is crazy, and I will make it my absolute priority to circulate this video to as many agencies and people that need to see this. It's disgusting what goes on here. Thanks.
Ms. Brown, thank you for your comments. I would like to respond to some extent. You know, as a parent of a child in the district, and it's okay, you can sit. I'm not looking for a dialogue. I just want to comment. As a parent of a child in the district, my son leaves the house every morning to come down to the school. And while I'm not going to, you know, this is not the forum to go point for point on any points that I disagree on or that any board member might disagree on. This is really not the forum. I do appreciate you pointing out that many of our kids are having mental health issues. Many of our kids are struggling. Many of our kids came out of COVID in rough shape. And the problems that you describe are not limited to Richfield Park. As a psychologist, I can tell you they're everywhere. Anybody who tries to look for a child psychologist will not even get a call back because the system is so overwhelmed. So the comments that you make, while I disagree on many of the details, based on my child's experience or my friend's children's experience and my experience of the administration here, especially the changes that we've made, I do understand that you're saying that there's many kids that are struggling with self-injury, with fighting, with a ton of different things that happened. I can assure you that this board is committed to improving the school system. This school is not a prison, or we're not going to lock kids up and have cameras every 5 feet. To my knowledge, Dr. Vest, there hasn't been one rumor on Facebook that has gotten out before he's told me and I've shared it with the board. Whether it's a false alarm, whether it's a real alarm, the board is aware of what happens in the school district. To about an hour before this meeting, there was a situation that I texted the entire board about a false alarm, right? So the issues that you raised, thank you for raising them. I know you feel like it's falling on deaf ears. It is not. In fact, the reason this entire board of professionals has taken the time out of their lives to come down here and work hard is because we care about the kids. So we're working on it. I hear what you're saying. Thank you for coming down. You can come down every month and share your thoughts if you'd like, but it's not falling on deaf ears. We actually are doing something about it. Thank you. And with that, may I please have, I'll speak to you after the meeting, if you'd like. We can speak after the meeting. Yeah. Yeah, if you'd like to speak, we can speak after the meeting. May I please have a motion to close the meeting?
I make a
move we
motion. to
adjourn.
close.
Second.
I'm assuming all in favor. Good night, everybody.